What's going on, my dudes? Chensleo11 here, and welcome back to another episode in the A to Z series. In today's episode, we are going to be showing you how to play JAX top for beginners. So JAX is a really fun and fundamental top laner, and I think if you play top lane or want to learn top, I think JAX is one of those champions you need to know how to play, or at least know what he does, because you will come up against him quite often. And he is a cool-ass champion to play, and I highly recommend giving him a go. And he fits into that champion that I personally really enjoy, those heavy split push top lane stompers that I like to play. So if you're new to the series or to the channel, hit the subscribe button, because we are going through every single champion in League of Legends and giving you a basic or beginner's guide on each of them. So in these videos, I like to go through, for example, for JAX, so we're going to be going through JAX's abilities, the best JAX build, and the best JAX runes for the current meta. So hopefully you enjoy the video, and we are going to be getting straight into it with the current best JAX runes. And these will probably stay pretty consistent. But as always, I like to have a check on u.gg or the pro builds to see what's most popular and see what the pros are using as well, and what they are using in the higher or the upper tiers of the ELO ladder in ranked to see what everyone else is using. So for JAX, we're going to be taking Conqueror, Triumph, Legend Alacrity. There are some alterations you can take in this first tree, but Conqueror is definitely up a main one, Triumph as well. And then Last Stand, and then Inspiration secondary with Magical Footwear and Time Warp Tonic. And then you want to be starting a Corrupting Pot, and that synergizes with that Time Warp Tonic. And we're going to be taking TP as well. Very important things on JAX. So you can see straight away we start off with a little bit of a trade on the Aurelia. Popping our Corrupting Potion, making sure that's ticking, because if you didn't know, Corrupting Potion, obviously it heals you over time, and it's actually an instant pop when you have Time Warp Tonic, but it also applies a burn onto the opponent once you hit when you hit auto attacks on them. So we'll try to pop that as soon as we can. You can see the purple like flames on Aurelia right now as I hit the auto attack when the Corrupting Pot open. So that's basically the runes anyway, guys. As we get through this early trading phase, we're going to move on quickly to the build. I will just quickly say, as I said, Corrupting Pot start. Then you want to be rushing Blade the Ruined King, plated steel cap boots, and this is game dependent, as you would have seen from my last video. I went through in detail, I gave a bit more emphasis on explaining build variation depending on the game state. And this seems to be like a pretty good game to go the steel caps, especially because they have a couple auto attackers on their team, namely Yasuo and obviously the Aurelia. They do have AP as well though, so it's either is fine. So we're going to flash to get onto the Aurelia to get the kill, gives us first blood, and we're going to see what we can do against the Nunu, nearly said Dr. Mundo. We're just going to stun him with our E, wait for the jungle Ziggs, nice game, this nice interesting jungler this game, to come and apply some support, and we should be able to get, maybe pick up a second kill here. And we're going to get started. Look at that jump, he's finished. We are 1 kill, 1 assist, and we are stomping the lane. We got a nice early shove as well. Could probably set up a freeze here, but I'm just going to push the wave with my Ziggs, and then back so I can get an early advantage, item advantage on the Aurelia, rather than stay and try and freeze. A bit hard when the Aurelia comes back, but we do have 2 levels on her. So we're going to get started on the passive. So we're going to go through the abilities now. So JAX's passive, a very, very good passive, and I like passives that are simple to understand and simple to apply, like understand how they synergize with items. That's why I think JAX is a very good champion to learn. We're going to TP back into lane as well. So JAX's passive is called Relentless Assault. So as we're going to jump onto the Aurelia to get a trade in, once we have the item advantage, Ziggs is coming back in for a gank. Let's see if we can kill this Aurelia, level 3. We do have a minion disadvantage because obviously she has more minions. You can see how much damage we're taking from minions. We get our Conqueror stacked up. The jungler is here again. Aurelia is finished. Unfortunately, the jungler doesn't get assist, but hopefully he can tax my lane, get some value for his time. So basically, basic attacks, like on hit, grant JAX a stack of Relentless Assault. You can see the 8 above my hotbar down there, and it's ticking down 5, 4, 3. So you're going stacks for 2.5 seconds, up to 8 stacks, and the duration, like if you hit another auto attack, the duration, obviously the stack goes up, and the duration of how long you hold on to the stack like resets, and each subsequent stack grants JAX bonus attack speed. So it's almost very similar to Aurelia, right? So as you stack up your passive, you do more, you get more attack speed, and basically if you're building on hit items like Blade of the Ruined King, it synergizes perfectly because the more attacks you do, the more you can apply it, obviously. So very, very good passive. One thing I will say is once the stack falls off, so it starts ticking down because you haven't auto-attacked anything, it'll start ticking down from 8. So it won't go back down to 0 instantly. I want to see if I can show an example. It's too quick. Basically, it goes from 8, and then it'll go 7, and then it'll go every quarter of a second, goes 6, 5, 4, 3. So as you can see, this early game is pretty hectic. All I'm doing is just embracing the Clown Fiesta that is this game, and just trying to get as many kills as I can. Now, JAX typically is like a late game kind of carry. He's a bit of a skirmisher, a fighter, kind of archetype of a champion. And he has very good late game scaling. And what does that mean? It means in the late game, he's actually very good. He can destroy towers, he can split push, and take whole bases pretty much on his own, especially with teleport. That's another reason why obviously you would take teleport in this game. So you can see here the Aurelia, she has the level advantage because the Ziggs has set up a tent at our lane, fortunately for us. So we are down a little bit on XP, but we are up on CS, and obviously the kills we've maintained. So a very, very good start for us. And what I'm just doing here is just walking through, letting the tower hit once. I'd have enough AD now to one-shot the minion after it takes the shot. I'm going to miss that one probably, unfortunately. But yeah, you can see here a very, very good early game. And just as soon as I see the Aurelia within range of my jump, I just go straight onto her and try and get the kill. Because she has no items, right? And I've got already a pickaxe. So we absolutely demolish her. So anytime she's going to overstep, we just punish, right? And that's something you got to learn to do, especially in the top lane. Once you have an item advantage or a level advantage, especially if your jungler's nearby, like Ziggs is, fortunately, just go in for the trade. And we had a minion advantage as well. We had more minions than she did. So even if she started to go, even with us, the minions would have dealt some damage and maybe tipped it to our favor. But especially when you have the massive item advantage. Now we're going to be able to shove her in the tower. Ziggs is going to come in as well. He's going to try and use his satchel charge to blow up the tower here, but I don't think we're going to be able to take the whole thing. And we are just demolishing this top lane. Aurelia is coming back pretty quickly and trying to defend this. And we're going to probably just back reset here. We got 2,100 gold, and we're getting real close to our Blade of the Ruined King. One thing I will mention with these new items, the mythic items. So some people I've noticed say, like, why are you building a non-mythic item first or a legendary item? Shouldn't you build the mythic first? In some cases, yes, obviously mythics are more powerful, but remember the bonus mythic passive doesn't do anything unless you have another legendary item. So as soon as you finish your secondary legendary item, so in this case, if we were to rush Triforce, for example, because that'll be our second item, we don't get the bonus on Triforce until we finish the Blade of the Ruined King. So it actually doesn't matter which order you build the two in. Blade of the Ruined King is just a better start for JAX. Ziggs is obviously spotting a easy lane to gank constantly, and we're just going to punish this Aurelia again for overstepping. She's going to use her ultimate, and she's going to get nice damage onto the Ziggs. Good flash from the Aurelia once we're slowed, because I can't get out of her blades. But she's not going to be able to kill us. And we get another kill here. We're unstoppable. 5-0. 8 minutes 40 into the game. This game is pretty much already dead. Unfortunately, the bot side of our map is probably suffering from all this pressure that Ziggs is applying top, but it's fine. We'll carry the game from here. So we're going to go over our next ability. It's called Leap Strike. It's JAX's Q. Basically, very, very simple. Active. So you target a unit, and JAX dashes to the target unit. If the target is an enemy and is in range upon arrival, JAX will deal physical damage on arrival. So he does damage when you land. And JAX automatically does, like basically you do an auto attack when you land as well. So a very, very strong ability to close the gap. Basically, the only weakness of JAX is CC and kiting, right? So if you get slowed or stunned, but you can just jump onto the enemy target, you're fine. You can still stick onto them and deal your damage. So again, JAX overall is a very simple champion. Like his abilities are pretty easy to understand, as we'll go through them there. There was the leap there, as you saw. I leaped onto the Aurelia. It's just understanding when to use things. So there's the Q, the leap, to close the gap. The cooldown is actually pretty low, so you can keep getting on top of the Aurelia. And despite her having many dashes, we got dashes too. And we are fed at this point, and we are going to just try and stomp the shit out of this game. So that's the Q, very simple ability. I use it sometimes to clear minions if I kind of screw up. And I've used my W, which is the next ability that we're going to explain. And it is your first max. Q being your last max, E being your second max. I use the Q sometimes to secure a last hit if I kind of screw up the auto attack prior. So we've already got 4 plates off this tower as well. So we are absolutely swimming in gold. We've got a full item built by 10 minutes. Plus we're looking at getting major components in the Triforce. Another 400 gold in the bank. Plus 50 to all our teammates. So the next ability, JAX's W. It's called W. JAX's W is called Empower. And it is one of those abilities that I love. It's called an auto attack reset. Let's see if we can kill this earlier. Again, we get another kill here. 7-0. Absolute stomp game. But just shows you how strong JAX can be when he has a lead. This is what I mean when he has a good late game. Because you can see when he has items. And I know it's obviously he looks strong when he's fed. But again, late game JAX absolutely stomps when they can't stop you. And we get another kill here. We're legendary. So JAX's W is what's called an auto attack reset, and I love these things. So you auto attack, you use the ability, and you apply a second, basically enhanced auto attack. These are great for split pushes, as you saw me use it on the tower, for that exact reason. They smash towers, they smash waves. So JAX's next basic attack, or his Q, or his leap strike, so you can apply your W onto your Q, will apply a bonus magic on hit damage, right? So it'll apply bonus magic damage on hit. So let's see what we can do here. We get our E ready. We jump onto the Aurelia. She's going to use her Zhonya's there, or her stopwatch, and there's no chance of the Aurelia surviving. I hazard a guess that this Aurelia is quite triggered at this point. But if you're watching this and you're wondering why I'm able to get this fed, it's simply because the Aurelia is just basically running it down at this point, right? She's not going to win the 1v1s, so her trying to kill me is pointless. And we pick up our next item. So here, this is what I mean, right? You can see it live. What I'm doing there is I'm just having a look. What boots should I go this game? I always do that, especially when I'm playing these bruiser top laners, because sometimes the sell my corrupting pot to finish off the Triforce for a massive power spike. Because sometimes the boots change, right? So if they have a lot of AP damage and a lot of CC, one of JAX's actual strongest weaknesses, Merc Shreds is the right answer. Okay. Sometimes you just keep going with your armor or your steel caps, which is the most common one you would build, because you want to keep demolishing your split pushing matchup. In this case, it's going to be either the Yasuo or the Aurelia. So steel plate boots is the right answer. So look at that W. Did you see how much damage that W did on the Aurelia? See you later. We actually did more magic damage on that auto attack than we did physical damage if you go back and watch the numbers. So you can see just how much damage this W does. If your W isn't used as your Q's enhanced, your auto attack just has bonus range. So keep that in mind. That's what I say. When I auto attack a fleeing target and then I W, the W can actually reach them a little bit further than your auto attack can, because it increases its range by about 50. So that's the W. Next, we're going to be going over Counter-Strike. So JAX enters an evasive defensive stance as the Aurelian tries to defend this tower for 2 seconds, causing all non-turret basic attacks on him to be dodged. Okay, it literally does not take damage from auto attacks. Obviously, against high auto attack threats like the Aurelia and the for the Yasuo in this case, you can see not having magic risks how much damage we're taking from the Aurelian Soul. We have to back out. Is negated. All those auto attacks are absolutely negated when we have our E going. So when we have our Counter-Strike going. And actually dodging these attacks is actually important, and I'll explain in a moment why. So, he also takes a 25% reduced damage from AoE effects. So that would be the Aurelian Soul there. If I had my Counter-Strike up, I'd take a quarter of less damage. Counter-Strike can be recast with him for after 1 second, or it ends automatically after the period of time, after it expires. And basically, JAX deals physical damage to all nearby enemies, and they're stunned for 1 second. Now, the thing that I was mentioning earlier about how many attacks you dodged is actually really important, because the more attacks that you've dodged increases that damage you do after the Counter-Strike by 20%, stacking up to 100%. So you can actually double the damage, okay? Now, the damage isn't amazing, but it will add up over time, right? So obviously keep that in mind. If you can hang on to the Counter-Strike as long as you can, you might as well hang on to it. And that's basically all the Counter-Strike is. Now, you've seen me a few times. What I like to do is I get my Counter-Strike going, and you'll see Jaxie starts waving his axe, and then I jump onto the target with my Q, and then I either recast my E or let it time out naturally. So I jump on top of them and stun them, and then once I stun them, then that's when I auto attack Ws. That's the basic combo on Jax, and it's very, very effective. Another quick mention about what I'm doing in the game macro wise, or like what am I doing in this game. Bot lane's losing hard, but I've managed to destroy top lane, get myself a scuttle, what's it called, Rift Herald here, and then move that advantage to. That's a not bad flash, if I must say so myself. I'm a actual nutty flash, not gonna lie. Still dead, doesn't matter. I managed to move the Rift Herald advantage and move it mid lane, so helping out the Kai'Sa, getting her some gold, and also opening up the map. And I've said it a few times in this series, that first mid lane tower is actually really important for vision control and objective control, because you can push the wave all the way up to their tier 2, and it gives you priority in their jungle and for the objectives. So, in this game, our biggest threat obviously is the Yasuo, so we're going to have to go and deal with him at some point. The Nunu and the Aurelia at this point aren't that strong. The Aurelian Soul was a little bit of an issue, as they are, as the Aurelian Soul obviously does a lot of magic resist. Does a lot of magic damage, and we've spec'd towards armor, as I said with the boots. So a little bit of a problem there, but we will prevail and we will keep stomping. So again, we've got our Triforce now, and we have another pickaxe. We're sitting at 229 AD, 92 armor, which is not too bad. But Jax gains a lot of his defenses again with that counter strike, as I mentioned. But he gets a lot of it actually from his ultimate. So his ultimate is called Grandmaster's Might. Okay. Now it has two portions. It has a passive effect and it has an active effect. So the passive, this activates as soon as you hit level 6 and you rank an ability in your ultimate. Jax's basic attacks on hit grant him a stack. So this is a second type of stack Jax has. For 2.5 seconds, stacking up for 2 times, and then refreshing the duration of subsequent attacks, okay? So at 2 stacks, Jax's next basic attack consumes those 2 stacks and deals an absolute shitload of magic damage, bonus magic damage. And this is why Jax actually does a considerable amount of magic damage. And that's why you might have seen, back in the day or sometimes, some Jax build full AP. He actually has some good magic damage scaling as well. We are absolutely demolishing these fights as well. Just the healing we're getting as well. Absolutely disgusting. Triple kill for me, having a decent game, not going to lie. And this was basically helped by snowballing the early game and getting a jungler who's happy to just give me a 700 gold shutdown. I think I got it. Giving me a basically figuring out the win condition and saying this Jax is getting fed early. Let's go snowball that lane. Let's go get that early tower and see what we can do with that lead. Okay, so the next part of Jax's ultimate, his active. Basically, all it is you activate it, and Jax gains bonus armor and magic resist. Okay, for 8 seconds. So in team fights, you basically want to pop your ultimate, and it just gives you bonus defensive stats. It's a very simple ultimate. A little bit boring, if I must say, but it is very, very impactful in those fights. And if you want to go for a 1v1 in the side lane. The bonus armor is actually quite significant. It's 30 of each armor and magic resist at level 1. And then at level 11, when you take your second point, it goes up to 50. And then 70 at level 16. So that's basically all of Jax's abilities. Very simple champion. A lot of stacks to keep to worry about. Some other things I will mention. As you saw there, you can obviously use your Q to allies, minions, and wards. And I think scrying orbs and fruit and blasting, what are they called? Those red things there on the screen that blast you over walls. So you have a lot of mobility despite being a run at you champion. All right, a little bit of a risky teleport here. We're going to jump straight onto the Aurelia to open up the first kill. Then we're going to onto the Aurelian Soul, who's pretty much our biggest threat other than Yasuo. So it's happy to get him out. Now, the Yasuo with Yuumi on top of him is the main issue. Misfortune puts a nice ultimate, unfortunately taking my triple kill, but we're going to go back onto the Yasuo with the Yuumi, and that's the problem. I got stunned there. Made a little bit of an error. Probably could have got the Yasuo if I didn't do that and make that mistake. And Yasuo's going to just kite out with Yuumi's speed plus his tornadoes. So, look at the big top lane advantage we've managed to get. We've pushed in the inhibitors. The minions are pushing into the towers. Not much I can say strategy-wise with this game. Like, I didn't do anything particularly special. Once I got the lead, I pushed in as much as I could because I knew no one could really stop me unless it was Yasuo. Keep an eye on the map for where Yasuo is at all times. Make sure you get in the Rift Herald when you can, when you've pushed out the lane so far that no one can really contest you. And you can definitely 1v1 the jungler. Start taking the junglers' camps if you can, if you're that fed, namely the Krugs on this side of the map. And that's about it, guys. Keep your farm up. Our farm dropped off a little bit in this game because we're just running around like an idiot, taking all kills and that. But you can see here, this is what I said before earlier about taking farm off the jungler. Taking their jungle camps is actually really good for denying them, denying the enemy jungler experience and gold. So just make sure you get in the habit of doing that, especially on these champions that are auto attack based, and you can just demolish creep camps for free almost, and not consume too much of your mana, despite me smashing all my abilities anyway onto these wolves. But yeah, you keep your CS up and you keep the enemy's jungler CS down. So let's focus up on the game and what's going on here. At this point the game is over, but we're just kind of wasting time by running around like idiots. Ideally what you want to, as I just jump and get a free kill there, thanks to the team, boosting my ego a little bit more. The best thing to do, I guess, would be to, it's actually a good bard ult to catch out the Aurelia, and we're going to get another kill off that, is to probably just push the bottom tower in, I guess. We probably don't need to, but since my team is there, we might as well draw pressure mid so they can get the tower and then get to that third inhibitor. Once there's 3 inhibitors down, it's pretty much over. So you can see there, prep the counter-strike, jump onto the Yasuo with my Q. Fortunately, he's a little bit slippery. Ease through me, I believe, to get out. So it's actually really good from the Yasuo. He's managing to... I think I've only killed him once this game, so he's been pretty good at evading my damage. But yeah, just trying to push the minions out as best we can. And we're going to see what we can do in this team fight. So we stun the Nunu off and we're kiting backwards. And we want to obviously not take the damage from the Nunu ultimate. We're going to go back onto the Nunu. The best target selection. We'll flash onto the Aurelian Soul who's doing damage on the backside. Then we get on top of the... I think it was the Nunu at the end. Then finish off the Kai'Sa. But unfortunately we just missed, I think it was the Penta, right? We screwed up against the Yasuo. So he's a little bit too fed for me. And we couldn't quite get him. I could go back and go through and what I used ability-wise and see if I could probably have done that better. It's probably always... Any single play you could probably do better. But... it would have been a Penta, it would have been a Quadra, and then I would have had to get the Yuumi, which would have happened. So anyway, guys. JAX, we've gone through all his abilities, runes, builds. I hope you enjoyed the video. This is the end. We've stomped this game in 23 minutes. I hope you enjoyed. Remember to hit the subscribe button. We got Jace next. We will be doing Gwen soon. Thank you all so much for watching. And remember, at the end of the day, it is nighttime. Take it easy.